Plot twist. Still alive!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Plot Twist, Still Alive! I am your hostess with the mostest, 3-time cancer survivor and chaos coordinator, Crystal with a K. Oh my gosh, thanks for coming back. I know I took a week off because I needed a fucking vacation. We have not had anyone on the podcast so far that had survived a natural disaster. I realized that a friend of mine named Meg, she actually had survived the 2018 Paradise fires in California. This fire was the deadliest in California in history. Over 85 people died. 18,000 structures were destroyed, and over 50,000 people were completely displaced and had to leave their homes. So I am going to let her tell her story because she actually lived through this. So everybody say hello to Meg. Meg, say hello to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
I know you're originally from California, but why don't you tell me, you know, what your life looked like there in the days leading up to this, your family dynamic, all of that.
We lived in the Paradise Magalia area, which is in way northern California. And it was my husband and I, and we had 3 children at the time, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. We were pastoring a church up there.
So you had your hands full. Your husband was a pastor or is a pastor?
We were both licensed pastors. Yeah, so we co-pastored our church.
Okay. So you guys are in the community, knew a lot of people around you, at least the ones that love Jesus.
And others, too.
The others, too. They still count.
Yeah.
That's right.
Everybody, you know.
So were you guys aware that anything, like, was there any warning? Because I literally know nothing about this. So days leading up to this, were there fires further away? Or was this something that, like, started and hit with the fury?
Yeah. Really, the only warning we had gotten was the electrical company had put out warnings that the weather looked like it might get windy. And if it got really bad, then they were going to be cutting power throughout the areas to gate issues. Although I don't really know what that would have helped with, but that's what they were saying. It's Northern California. That's not an unusual email or text to get. Our area is called Butte County. So we are on a mountain, and so there's a bunch of the foothills, and the way that they're designed, those, you know, they go up and down and up and down, and those buttes get formed. Within those areas can get really windy. So you might not be experiencing wind, but a mile or 2 away from you can get very, very windy. Kind of like a breezeway, right? A building might block the wind, but the breezeway is very breezy. So that was kind of the weather that was leading up to it. We were in a drought. It hadn't rained in November, but it's still warmer outside, maybe a little cooler than here in Texas in November, but still it's not cold. That's important because that morning I was arguing with my 5-year-old whether or not she could walk the 20 steps to the car to wait for her sweater. And I remember that because I'm like, dude, you're going to live. Like, it's just in the car. You'll live. It was a whole morning. Typical, regular
mom shit.
3 children. Yes, trying to get 1 to TK, 1 to preschool, right? With a 2-year-old as well, and a 5-year-old who thinks she knows everything. Pretty standard.
So this is like a weekday. Hubby's at work.
Yes.
You're home with the kids, getting them ready for school.
Correct. My husband had started working off the mountain down in a local town called Chico, which is actually where we had met and had started our family, and then moved up the mountain to pastor. And so he left fairly early because it takes about 40 minutes from our house to get off the mountain, just because, not because it's far away, just simply because you have to drive slower. So he had already left, but when he left, it was still dark. And so I was leaving the house at about 7:45 that morning.
You're just going along your regular day in the car, no news or anything of any of this occurring yet, correct?
No, that's kind of the funny part, right? So my 5-year-old's arguing with me about this sweater, and I was like, you'll be fine. It's not cold outside. And as she's walking out, you hear her with her little 5-year-old attitude going, oh yeah? Then what's that big cloud doing? So I'm like, what cloud? Like, it's not going to rain. We haven't had rain. I go out, and sure enough, there's a massive cloud in the sky, but it is not a rain cloud. It is definitely a fire cloud.
So smoke?
Yeah, just a huge smoke cloud. I tried taking a picture of it, but because of the depth perception between all the trees, can't tell. You have no idea that there's no way to see it. I'm trying to take pictures, send it to my husband, who I did call, and I was like, "Hey, this thing's kind of big." I was more nervous it looked close rather than how big it was because I didn't want to get stuck up there on the mountain by myself with 3 children, like, where he gets cut off, where he can't come back home, and now I'm stuck parenting alone all night, like, that was really the concern.
I don't want to be home alone all night.
Mm, with 3 children, yeah.
And plot
So
twist, it was way more serious than that.
I mean, it did become pretty serious, but it's kinda like in certain areas when there's a tornado warning, everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, where's the tornado?" Like, you don't do much. It's very similar in California when you see fire, it's got a 50-50 shot, like, how serious do I need to take this right now? Rather than, "Oh my gosh, there's a fire," and you panic. Like, it's like, "Should I be worried? Should I not be worried?" Because there's fires all the time, but you just never know when it's gonna be that fire. And so when I had called my husband, he was like, "Oh yeah, some of the guys that are coming in, they're talking about it's like up in Concow, which is another mountain town." And I said, "Yeah, it definitely looks like it's over there," which there's no direct access between us and Concow. If there had been a bridge, it would have been about 5-minute drive, but there's no direct. You have to go all the way around. And it's about a 40-minute drive. But what do they say? Is the bird
By
flies?
the crows, yeah, as the crow flies. I only know that because of Sons of Anarchy. The crow
There
flies
you go.
straight.
I
Okay,
know.
perfect.
And so, but fire-wise, we're talking a few miles away.
Minutes.
You know, we're not
Yeah.
talking, yeah, we're not talking far. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna keep an eye on it." He's like, "All right, call me if you decide to leave. I'll come up and help." We technically lived in Magalia, which is just slightly above Paradise, but they're essentially one and the same. It is just a little bit more up the mountain. And I'm like, it's gonna go through Paradise and I'm gonna get stuck up here. You've got one main road, up or down. Which way are you going? And I was already kind of struggling with that. So again, I don't want to be stuck with the options of now I can only go up. What's up? We've never even made it that far yet. So I get off the phone with him and I take the kids to school, which is only like 2 minutes away. We pull in and we park, and there's just a perfect view of the smoke cloud from there. The way the tree line just opens up where the school is, you can see it. It's just huge and definitely a little more overwhelming than it looked at my house. And both of my girls went to school on this campus. So as I'm walking up, and I had dropped off my oldest with her teacher in the cafeteria. She was totally like, "Bye, mom." Like, a little bit nervous at first. And then once she saw her teacher, she was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, bye. Leave me alone. I don't want to stay with you." So I go to take my other daughter to her preschool classroom, and my friend's walking up and is like, "Nah, Miss Heather canceled class just to be safe." So I was like, "All right." So we're standing there like, what do we do? How do we navigate this? Because this is kind of crazy. This huge giant smoke cloud's looking pretty scary. But also, no one at the school, not a single person is acting stressed or harried in any kind of way. So I'm like, well, you'd think that schools would be one of the first to get like notified. Like, and there was other parents like standing and talking with their friends. Teachers are walking by, and I remember like a para kind of walking by, like scoffing, like at parents like taking their kids out. Like, oh my gosh, if there was a problem, like we would know. Can see the problem. you know?
That's kind of mind blowing to me because even we live in Texas, right? Even if there's an idea of snow, school closes because they're so anal about it. We've had flood warnings,
Right.
we've had fire bans and things like that. I get that California is used to some degree of fires here and
Right.
there, but to have a massive cloud literally behind the school and not think, just in case maybe we should leave the kids at home with their parents. I guess you'll answer this. If this was a failure of the state or whoever is supposed to tell the school that, I don't know at this point. I'm just like,
Right.
that seems like such an overlook.
Yeah. So, I mean, hindsight, right? You get information later about why there was such a lack of information. So, in this whole area that were threatened by this fire at some point. Only I think it was like 1% of that area ever got a mandatory evacuation warning.
What?
From what we've gathered, it's because it went out. Like it was one of the first things that went down. So they could not get this warning out. They wanted to.
It wasn't a failure. This was that. Whatever they utilized to get this information out was down because of the fires. Wow.
Yes.
That's so scary.
That's why I'm assuming schools couldn't get notified. I wasn't on that side of it. I only know what I know. So as we're standing there chatting, trying to figure out what do we do, looking at this big, giant smoke cloud. How do I deal with this? If I need to go somewhere, where are we going to go? So I'm texting my best friend, and we come stay with you for the day. My mother-in-law, hey, if need be, can I bring my kittens to your house? Because I can't take them to my best friend. They live in a teeny tiny little apartment, and we're already 5 coming to join their 3. So,
and how far were these people in relation to you?
They were in Chico. So where my husband was at work, that's where they were. Yeah. My friend is trying to figure out, how can we get out? What are all of our exit strategies? But there was just a moment in the atmosphere, something changed. It just felt like nothing actually dropped. But that's just the feeling, was just like something just fell. My friend and I looked up from our phones, locked eyes, and both of us at the same time were like, it's time to go. I don't know how to explain it. We just knew, and we both knew at the same moment. So we go into the office because she's got an older son in school in the elementary part. Obviously, I have an older daughter. So they're like, yep, sign it, just go get them. It'll be faster than us trying to call them. So we go. Like, we're not the only parents who are grabbing their kids out, which the school hasn't been in that long, but long enough. I get her out and I'm like, we're going, just run. I remember having to pick up my 2 and 3-year-old because they couldn't keep up. So I'm carrying them like surfboard style, running to our van. We get in the car, we head home, on the phone with my husband on the way, and just like, we're going to go pack bags. Something doesn't feel right. This feels big. And he's like, all right, I'm headed that way. At the time, he would commute using his Harley. Get home, and I set my 5-year-old, okay, here's a suitcase, just go in your room and throw a bunch of clothes in for you and your sister. And the other 2 just start watching TV, I think. Because my middle, surprisingly, I don't want to say it went catatonic, but kind of was like, I'm going to turn off. I'm awake, but I'm off. Like, I'm offline.
Because I know a little bit about you and like how you grew up and everything. You're kind of like a duck as far as I've ever seen, where you're like chill as fuck on the top, but underneath it's like your feet are just going like this. Were you like that in this moment? Or do you feel like because they're your kids and they know you, they could sense you being freaked out?
No, I think that even now, same daughter, absolutely she hates storms. She hates lightning and thunder. Anytime my phone goes off, she's like, what is it saying? This whole last week with all the flash flood stuff, she's just panicked.
So she's
like, she just
an
can't.
Anxious person about those types of things.
About specifically those things. She doesn't do well. So no, from what I've been told is I do really well in these moments. Bring me chaos, bring me stress. Don't bring me laundry. That apparently overwhelms me.
Thanks, trauma. We're great. It's not a lie. I do believe that things that you've endured make you really great in chaotic situations. But then when boring life comes along, you're like, I don't know what to do with all this energy. What do I do?
Right. And then you add an ADHD, and that like just does not help at all. Just it's fun. So we're throwing stuff in the car, and I remember the 2 younger ones buckled in their car seats, and my oldest bringing her backpack. And so she's headed to the car. My husband calls me and he's like, hey, I'm trying to get to you. He's at the very tippy top of paradise, almost getting into Megalia, when I can hear him talking to someone. Like, he's no longer talking to me, and they're telling him something. And he's just like, babe, you've got to go now, just abruptly. And he's like, I'm not going to make it to you. You need to leave now. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I am leaving, but but now, like, and the weirdest things happen when you're in these moments, because all I could think of was, but I haven't grabbed all your hats, because my husband collects hats. And
Same. What's he going to do? This is an emergency.
I mean,
He's going to need them.
he loves his hats. That's literally what came out of my mouth. What do you mean? I haven't grabbed all your hats. He's like, forget my hats and please just leave. So I was like, all right, I have to grab the cats and then we'll be out. So I go to the garage because I need to get the carrier. And I look, it's literally at the very, very top of some tower of stuff. And I'm like, nope. So I grab a laundry basket, throw the kittens in it, and throw them in the van. I was like, kids will love it. They'll love it. Everyone will be happy. It's fine. And I take off. I think I left at about 8:30 morning. I'm trying to head down the mountain at this point, and I get through Magalia. And the main thing that kind of separates us is a reservoir. It's not very big. It kind of just looks like a lake. And I can see that they've got it blocked at some point. I'm like, Lord, let me get through. Let me go by. Don't stop me. Don't stop me. Because I do not want to go up. And he lets me go. And at this point now, they'll make us go up what they call Old Skyway. Because they had built a newer road that kind of went side of the mountain. So it's a little faster. It's like maybe a minute faster, but it's faster, whatever. So Old Skyway kind of goes up a little. So we turn, we go up, and pretty much from that point on, it's just fire. Buildings are literally completely engulfed in flames. Now it's all of a sudden windy. When we had left that morning, it really wasn't windy, but now it's very windy, especially up here. Fire is literally coming across the road. Like it's stretching its fire arms and then we're just going through, and my kids are going, Mom, you're going through fire. And I'm like, well, what? I have to.
I'm sorry. You have a laundry basket full of kittens, a car
Well,
full of
but yes.
kids full. Two kittens is
yeah.
a lot. And a laundry basket. A van full of kids. Husband's on the other side of all of this, and you're just fucking driving through fire. And at this point, how are you internally feeling?
Honestly, it's scary, but also it was this, I got to keep moving. If I can just keep going and get off the mountain, we'll be fine. Like that was really just, I have to get past it. I can't just stop here just because there's fire. My brain just said, keep going, keep going. And I'm like, if it's already here, right? What's the plan? In terms of how bad is it going to keep getting if it's already here, which is like the most northern part of paradise you could be in. And, my kids they're semi freaking out, but mostly probably because they've just never really seen fire like that, like stuff.
Me neither. And I'm 40. I would be freaking out.
Yeah. And it was on either side, but there was you can't just, look this way. Like that's on fire too. We finally there's a little, right before the stop sign, the road does this and there's just a few cars. So I'm like fourth or fifth car from the stop sign. And we just stop there. No one's moving. There's cars over there I can see, and they're not letting them through. There's no movement here. There's cars as far as I can see going that way, and they're obviously not letting anyone go that way because apparently that whole part of New Skyway was just on fire. I could see some because I'm more up, so I can see cars down there on it, like a big old semi truck, and they're trying to figure out how to move them out of that because it's all on fire. And so they're trying to manipulate the situation, and that's when my friend that I was at the school with, she calls me and she goes, where are you? And I think we had left our house at the same time. Like we had texted each other, but she lived about 5 minutes further up Magalia than I did. And so by the time she got to the reservoir, they were turning everyone around. So she made it there and got turned around. So she didn't make it to where I was, just in that 5-minute difference between getting to go into paradise or having to turn around and go up.
So they're sending everyone else to go up the mountain, and you made it past the cutoff to go down the mountain.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sitting there, and my husband calls me, where are you? And I'm explaining where I am. And I'm like, where are you? And he goes, well, they wouldn't let me go through because the main road's on fire. Like you need to leave. Was the go part. So he's like, they made me turn around. I didn't really understand what he was saying at that time, but I think what he was trying to say was that he had actually made it down back into Chico. I think at that point he was officially off the mountain, just kind of at the base waiting for me. So talked to him then, and then I think we were there for 30 minutes. just chilling,
At
waiting.
the stop sign.
Fire and fire I know is behind me, is down there. I don't know what's in front of me, but again, all I can think of is if I can just keep going. We do move, we do get down a little bit, and then we get stopped at the main four-way light, the second main road in Paradise. But we're all stopped. Like there's cars trying to come this way, where there's cars this way. But there's also a gas station here. There's a propane business right here.
Oh
And I
God.
get and we just chill there for
It's like a scenario where you're like, this can't get any worse.
yeah, so we just chill there for a couple of hours.
Hours?
Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours. As we're sitting there, the last time I had communication with anyone was at about 9:30 that morning. One point I remember trying to call someone or send a text and it just wasn't going through. The last time I talked to my husband was at about 9:30 that morning. And then from that point on, nothing worked. There was absolutely zero service on my phone. They had turned off the power to the whole city and probably surrounding areas as well. And the smoke just was coming down, getting heavier and thicker. As we're sitting there, I'm watching helicopters go to that reservoir, pull water, come and just drop it because I can see the fire on the main road. And they're trying to move those cars further down so that way they're not right there. About, a couple hours in, we start moving. They start slowly making these cars go that way. And then I'm like, they're starting to move us and then they'll move them. And I'm like, just let me keep going.
So you're finally getting to go.
Yeah, there's movement. And I just remember being like, God, like, let me get through. Don't stop me. I'm thinking, why else would we be moving if it wasn't that we're gonna get out? But I'm still at the top part of Paradise. So of all of Paradise to go through, which Paradise isn't a huge like city. It's just about 20,000 people. It's a mountain town. We made it past the light. We were moving. And at that point, they had us in both lanes. So it's just a one way in each direction kind of road. So we are now trying to get down. We're on both sides of the road. And then we stopped again. I'm like, why are we stopped? At this point now, it feels and looks like you're in a war zone. It's so smoky. It's so dark. It's blocking out the sun. Some light will come in and out, but it's super dark. There's obviously cars everywhere, but trees are really loud when they're on fire, and also when they fall, it's really loud. Got snapping branches and twigs. Fire itself is super loud. And then on top of that, up there, everyone has propane tanks. And so those are all now blowing up. You'll just hear an explosion and then another explosion. And then you got a helicopter going around you. So it quite literally felt and sounded like a war zone.
I'm in shock right now. I can't even control my face because you're so like nonchalant speaking about this. Again, I know you're the duck, but did you ever stop being the duck?
No, still the duck.
But as this is progressing, again, it's not just you. You have these kids with you. Like, kids you'll die for. Those are your babies. Right. And I know has to be this medium or that middle ground where you're like, as a mom, you have to stay calm even when you're scared shitless. But then on the other part of it, you're a human being. And this is terrifying. I can't even imagine what you were seeing.
They're in the back. I have videos and you can hear in the background like Greatest Showman soundtracks playing, Moana's playing. Like they're fine, A few different times during this whole experience, they would ask like, Mom, are we safe? Or Mom, what's going on? Checking in themselves like for updates. And I just was like, no, we're not safe. But
you were honest.
Yes, because the ages of my kids, particularly my daughters, because they are 5 and 3 and very intelligent, that we'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. I just feel like no one likes to feel invalidated. They're looking at fire. Like, how are you telling me everything's fine? That I just didn't see the need to lie. I just kept telling them, like, no, we're not safe, but we're trying to get to safety. We are going to trust and have faith that God is going to protect us. And that's where I left it. We're doing the best we can, which they would accept it. And that was it. There was never a moment where anyone was hysterical. There wasn't a moment where anyone was just crying or breaking down. They bickered like normal kids.
like a car trip.
Yeah, but they were still pretty good, especially for their ages and not having much to do. We were trapped in our vehicle for the entire day. Eventually, the fire chief had, knocked on my window and I rolled it down. He literally had to put his head in the car so I could hear him because everything is so loud outside. And he is just like, you're going to follow the car in front of you. Just follow him. And where he goes, you're going to go. And everyone's going to follow you too. So they just start diverting cars. And I'm thinking, okay, great. We're moving over to the other main road and we're going to get out. And no, we did not get out. And he just takes us to the shopping center area. There's like a grocery store, there's a Kmart, and we just park. And I'm like, what do we? No. Movement's good. Feeling like we're going somewhere. That's what I wanted.
I don't need groceries. I need to get the hell out of here.
Parking does not sound like we're doing anything. Sitting in parking was the worst for sure because no one's explaining anything. I have no idea why we're here. Eventually, after the fact, I find out that it's what they call shelter in place. So they're finding the safest place that they can for you in that moment. And a big giant concrete parking lot is the safest that they can find because there's as little as could catch on fire. Like you're further away from things that can catch on fire. So at some point, we are surrounded by fire. Thankfully, the grocery store we were in front of did not catch on fire at that time. Everything behind it was on fire. We could see the trees behind that, and you could see them on fire.
Were there any issues with anybody breathing because of the smoke?
Eventually, it became a pretty big deal, particularly because the smoke didn't just go away. We're going to deal with weeks of this fire and smoke. It was so bad that they have satellite imagery of the smoke reaching the East Coast.
Well, and that's what typically kills people in fire situations. It's not so much the fire itself.
Right. Yes. What they had said was if you breathe the smoke in, even 5 minutes was about the equivalent of smoking a pack of cigarettes, in terms of the damage it can do to your lungs. My son ended up developing asthma because of it. So we're sitting in the parking lot. I park and I'm like the first spot, and I can literally, if I just back up a little, I will be able to just be the first car out of this parking lot because I don't want to be here. It was super disorienting because again, it's like 12:30 in the afternoon, but it physically feels like midnight. It's so dark. Everyone's got their lights on trying to see. My pictures that I have of that time don't do it justice because it kept lightening everything up. I can see more using my camera looking through it than I could just normal. So we're sitting there. I get out at one point because I have to change my son's diaper within 10 to 15 minutes of being there. And I can hear a woman and she walks by and she's hailing a police officer. So he pulls up. And again, because it's so loud, everyone has to yell to be heard. So I can hear their conversation. And she goes up to him and she goes, "Sir, what's going on?" He's like, "This is where you need to be, because this is the best place we can find." And then she's like, "Okay, but are we safe here?" And this cop looked at her. He just went straight faced and was just like, "No, man, I can't guarantee your safety on this mountain at all." She's expecting to be lied to. I can feel it, And he's like, "No, I can't guarantee your safety anywhere on this mountain." He goes, "But what I can say is if my family were on this mountain right now, this is where I would want them." And then he rolls up his window and drove away. And she's just standing there, completely in shock.
It sounds like he handled it very similar to what you did. This is the truth, which it should be.
Agreed.
Some people would give people shit for being honest, but I also think that you owe it to the public as somebody that's serving the public.
Right.
As a mother, you and your family are pastors at this church. Faith is a huge part of your family and your life. So
yeah.
Relying on that, using the truth, but also using that to lean on for strength. That sounds like a big part of what you guys were having to do. Oh, I'm getting chills.
And yeah. Well, and it's, it's one of those things. So I'm finishing up. I put my son, I didn't strap him because we're just chilling now. So I shut the door and I sit and I look up, and that same woman is parked just slightly to my right. I physically watched the hope leave this woman's body. She's alone and she is just completely breaking down. And that's all, like, that's how I felt. Was like, I'm like, I can tell, like, I'm physically watching the hope completely leave this woman's body. And I'm sitting there crying, silently crying, because you can't watch that and not get emotional. Like, I
No.
still get emotional thinking about it, and I'm sitting there, like, sobbing, and I'm like, "God, what are we doing?" Everywhere I'm looking, I can't see much because it is so smoky, but what I can see is everything's on fire. So what is going on? And I just remember, like, "God, you gotta figure this out, and you need to figure it out now. Like, I can't do this." I just take a deep breath. My oldest was like, "Mom, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, just really wanna get out of here." Left my house at 7:45. I had not ate breakfast. My oldest had breakfast at school. The other two had some sort of breakfast like granola bar and applesauce. But it is now getting close to 1, and that's it. I haven't ate. That's all they've had all day. I don't have water because, like, I'm not like my husband who has an emotional support water bottle at that time. I do
You thought about
now.
the hats, but you didn't think about the water. Priorities.
The way I packed, the way I left, it was because I really just believed I needed to go spend the day off the mountain.
Right.
I was not packing things up as if I'm not coming back. The only reason I brought the cats was because I thought, just in case, I would be devastated if
Right. It's a living creature.
I really did not think that this was going to become what it became.
But why would you? The school didn't make it a big deal.
Right? No,
Nobody was
no one
making it a big
was.
deal that was
No.
supposed to. And you didn't realize it was a big deal until you were headed away after you'd already packed and left.
Right. And so this really nice guy came and knocked on the window. He's like, "Hey, just wanted to check. How are you doing? Is everyone okay?" And I'm like, "Well, we're probably as good as you can expect." And he asked, "Do you have food? Do you have water?" I'm like, "Actually, we have nothing. I think maybe one of the kids had a water bottle, probably my youngest." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, we're just going around checking, making sure everyone's okay, see if people need anything." So he came back like 50 minutes later and had it already open. Someone had drank a little bit of it, like Propel water. And I did not care. We'll accept your water, your offering. And it was one of those like, little hummus packs with the pretzels. So it was not open. So I, of course, gave that to my children. We all drank like every so often a little bit of the Propel water. I have no idea what's happening anywhere else other than right here. There were some nurses that were going around handing out basic surgical masks because at least it was something. At one point, someone came and said, "Hey, there's a woman that has her grandkids with her that she wasn't anticipating having with her, and she's looking for diapers." And I was like, "Oh, I got diapers." I find out later that it's actually our really good friends. I was giving diapers for her child. They were part of our church. It was his parents that had their kids, which they didn't know at that point because the majority of people work off the mountain. So you have all these people who have commuted and gone to work and they're in completely different area of town. Our friends had no idea where their kids were, if their kids were okay, if their parents were okay, like nothing, because that is how little communication was able to happen during this frame. Nothing working because there's no power anywhere, which includes cell towers. So
Right.
nothing is on. And the smoke was so bad, I don't even know how well reception would be anyway. Yeah. So chilling. And then a little bit later, another gentleman stopped by and he was like, "Hey, I'm just going around. I'm just seeing if anyone needs food." I'm like, "Yeah, we don't really have anything." He goes, "Well, I don't have much." He's like, "But I do have a fifth wheel kind of across the parking lot. I can make people soup." He's like, "That's really all I can offer." I'm like, "Thank you so much. I think for now we're okay, but I'll come find you if anything changes." He's like, "Please do. I know it's not much." Very sweet. There was wild in a good way, the stories that came out from just the goodness of people. But I remember just being like, I'm not moving because I've got an exit strategy. Okay. I am the first vehicle out of here. So sitting there, kids are honestly, given everything, they were actually really, really good.
That is such a blessing in itself.
Yeah, especially if you know my kids. I'm just sitting there like, I don't have anything to do either, like other than just stare at what's going on. The guy, I'm gonna call him my neighbor, in the truck next to me, he had just gotten off work. And so he had, big, think of very typical, like, manual labor worker who has those big giant chests of a lunch pail. And so he's like, let me see if I have anything left from my lunch. And he had one of those like really awful, like nature bars. I don't even know what they're called, the super crunchy things that make a mess everywhere.
I actually like those. It's like eating a rock, or gravel, but kind of
But I didn't
delicious.
have waters.
Oh, that part. Can't wash that
You
shit down.
know,
Then you have a
so
dry
yeah,
throat on top of everything else.
you know. So he gave us that, but he's like, I don't have much. And he was like apologizing, like it was his fault. And I'm like, this is a lot. This is helpful. I really appreciate you sharing with my family. But I'd have moments where it's like, why? What's happening? What is going on? Why are we in this situation where, you really start to question, am I going to die? Is this what's happening right now? Because I am surrounded by fire. We are not going anywhere. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why we're not leaving. And then, I would then have other moments where it's just like, God did not bring me to this moment for it to be my last moment. Like, He did not bring my children to this moment for it to be their last moment. No, no. Like, this is not the end. I have full faith that God is going to bring us out of this. And it was like when I would go there, I would start to almost despair. Then it was like, for me, I would say, like, then the Holy Spirit was really like, no, God did not bring you through everything you've been through for you to die like this. I remember this moment where it was like, I have to stop doing this. The kids kept asking because they would see something new catch on fire and they would get, oh my gosh, mom, look. So they'd ask, check in. How safe are we? What's going on? Why aren't we moving? So I'm constantly having to answer these things for them. I remember answering it one more time. Mom just wants to get off the mountain. That's all I want. It was about 4 o'clock. It felt like I was just fading. I had not ate all day and I just remembered heaviness settling over me. And then something inside me was like, you need to go get soup. And I was like, why am I going to go get soup? I don't want soup. My kids hate soup. They're not even going to eat it. And then again, no, you need to go get soup. You need to go find that guy and you need to go get soup right now. All right, I guess I'm going to go find soup. So I was like, guys, get your shoes on. Because of course they took their shoes off. My middle daughter can't find one of her shoes. Somehow we did find another shoe for the correct foot that was missing. So I've got the 2-year-old in a little umbrella stroller, the 3-year-old walking with 2 different shoes. They're all wearing the little masks that we were given. And we walk over trying to find this guy's fifth wheel. He sees me and he's like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for coming. He's super sweet, like putting my kids into his fifth wheel. And I can see out of the corner of my eye a police cruiser coming up. I think when you could tell someone's trying to catch your attention, like they're wanting to talk to you. I kept getting that feeling. And so I'm handing this guy another one of my kids. The police officer stops and he's like, hey, like, what's going on? I was like, oh, we haven't ate all day and this gentleman offered us something to eat. The police officer talks to the driver and then he's saying something to me. I can't hear him because, again, it's super loud. And he says something about an ice chest and something he's offering us food. But then he says something about leaving. And I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? And he goes, well, we can move an ice chest over because we're trying to get people who have children, we're trying to get them off the mountain first. And I was like, okay. And
That's me. I have children. Pick me.
we can get in our car and we can get you out of here. Yes, I want to do that. And he was like, okay. I'm like, okay, well, I need to go get like my purse, like my stuff. And he goes, you can't bring anything. And I'm like, no. I just need my purse and my wallet. Maybe he said diaper bag or something. And he goes, okay, but that's it. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, go get it. And I'm like torn because I just handed this strange man 3 children. But this officer is telling me I need to go across the parking lot. So he looks at me like, we're going to stay right here. Your kids will be fine. I run across the parking lot and I'm grabbing my purse and put the diaper bag on. And as I'm doing that, the kittens pop their little heads out, and I lose it. I just start sobbing, and I'm going, "I'm so sorry. Kids before cats. Kids before cats." And I shut the van and I run back to my children, and I like just wrecked having to leave them in the car. But I'm like, there's food all over that van. They will be fine. What am I gonna do? Sorry, I need to take these kittens. And then them saying you'll have to wait then. Like,
Right.
nah, kids before cats. As sucky as that was, that was I kept just having to convince myself of that.
But that's also how serious it was, is that you had to make a choice like that.
Yes, it really was. There's food, there is water. Because we had poured some of I don't know if it was good for them, but whatever. We'd poured some of the Propel for them, and so I just had to shut the van and run, and they put us in a fire rescue park ranger style Jeep. It was 4 of us, and we shoved into their back seat, and I had my 2-year-old and I buckled him and I together. My oldest is like, but we don't have car seats. We can't be in this car. Like, we have no car seats. And mom, you can't do that. You can't, 2 people can't have a seat. This is my child. And the officer was like, I love that you're saying that. He's like, absolutely right. He's like, your mom taught you right. In a normal situation, you absolutely should always be in a car seat. He's like, except in an emergency. He's like, and this is an emergency. And in emergencies, it's okay because the officer said it. We're good.
He's
Right.
not going to give you the ticket, so it's okay. You can break the rule.
Right. We leave. No one else has left. Not a single person has left the parking lot other than police officers, but we are the first civilians that are going out from any parking lot. And as we're driving, I can see other people in larger parking lots also sheltering in place. As we're driving, everything is on fire. So within seconds, my kids are going, "Mom, it's on fire. Mom, it's on." And I'm like, guys, we are unfortunately going to see a lot of fire. You don't have to tell us every time you see fire. We're having to go really slow because they're calling in downed power lines. So clearly no one else is left because the way that they're telling them, they're radioing in, okay, here, whatever number. And then it's like, are we sure the power's off to this one? Yes. And then we'd go over like electrical wires. There's a tree we've got to go around. They're constantly relaying this to someone. That was disorienting. I didn't know where I was, even though we've lived here for, at that time, about 3 years. I know this road. And I don't know where I am. You use landmarks to kind of guide you. And it's like, that used to be a McDonald's and there's nothing there, and my kids were okay. And again, this is now almost 5 p.m. about. So they've been doing pretty good, with everything. But then we pass their favorite restaurant, which was Black Bear at the time. And you can tell what it is because the bears are still out front. And as we're passing it, it's completely engulfed in flames and it literally just collapses right as we go by it. And my kids just lose it. And I think that was the moment for them that this is real. Like, Mom, that was Black Bear. It just crumbled. It's gone. And they're all hysterically crying. And I'm just like, I can't do anything. I've got 2 men in front of me. I've got 3 kids now that have just everything for them is just, that was it. That was their moment. And they're crying and I'm having to console them and also trying to keep them quiet so they can keep radioing people. We go down this road will take you to another town called Orville. It takes you like to this road, which then takes you to Orville because it's kind of like a triangle between Paradise and then you got Chico and then Orville and then Chico and Orville are connected by 99, which is just another highway. And so we're driving down and all of a sudden we just drive through this wall of pure dark smoke. Now where it's bright, the sun is completely out. There's not a cloud in the sky. Wasn't it like midnight just a second ago? And the kids are like, what the heck? And then my phone just starts making otherworldly sounds. All of the notifications that I have not gotten since about 9:30 that morning are all coming in at one time. So it is all the Facebook sounds, all the text sounds, all the messenger sounds, all the missed calls are all coming in and they're just trying to go at the same time. I realized, oh my gosh, I have service. Like that's what's happening. So I was like, hey guys, could I call my husband? And they were like, oh, yeah. Please, please, please call him. Let him know this is where we're taking you. So I call him. And I'm thinking, like, I haven't talked to him all day, expecting this, like, babe, where are you? What's going on? Like, I'm expecting this kind of thing. And so it's ringing and he answers and he just, hello? So I'm like, oh, maybe I haven't been missing all day. Maybe he doesn't realize how intense this is, you know? So I was like, hey, babe, I just wanted, and then I didn't even get any other words out. And he's just hysterically crying on the other side. And I was like, okay, I was missing. This was real. Like this happened, you know? But really, it was this. I think he was so afraid of what he was going to find on the other side of that phone call. He was just braced that it was going to be a police officer or, hey, we found this phone and someone saying, we've got your kids, but your wife didn't make something, right? All the scenarios of it's not my wife. What if it's not my wife calling me from her phone? So then when he heard my voice, it was like everything just broke.
That made me want to cry. Like I almost started crying just now because the relief, like all of the feelings.
Right. I'm like telling him where we're going, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna be there as soon as I can. But it's, from Chico to Orville, it is about a 25-30 minute drive, especially where we were going. So one of the churches in Orville had Red Cross set up there. That's where they were taking us. Show up, and there are just tons of people. We've got 3 kids who've literally been in a car all day long, and there's zero direction on what to do, where to go, what's happening. We walk through this whole church. No one's telling you what to do. Finally, I'm like, hey, we just got rescued. Go fill this out. And I'm like, cool. It was super weird. And it was almost like they hadn't yet dealt with anyone who had actually escaped. We really were the first civilians that had come off the mountain since they pretty much had closed everything. Thankfully, because, we were pastors. So the other Foursquare pastor in Oroville, our friends, he heard that's where I was headed. So he's like, I'm going to go meet her there. So he came, which was really helpful because at this point, my kids are absolutely running amok. They're 5 and under, and they really have been amazing, but they've been cooped up the entire day. They are stressed, and it's still traumatic, as great as they're accepting it all. It's just, there's this chaos. I am, from what
Done.
other people have told me, I am done. I was just a shell. For me, it was because all that adrenaline was finally done, and my body was like, all right, we're safe. And then it shut off.
And then you crash. Yeah.
And it very much. And I was just like, yeah, some might call it shock. It didn't feel like shock. It definitely just felt like my batteries were done. And I was just literally going on fumes. And I finally got to my destination. I'm going to sleep now, but I'm awake because I can't, because I still have 3 children and I'm at a random place I don't know. So, but again, let's remember I had abandoned my vehicle up on the mountain. My husband takes a motorcycle to work, and now we're stuck at a church. So we call our other best friends. They also have 3 children at this point, and we're like, can you come meet us at this church and then take us home? And they were like, yes, we can. It's more watching my children than anything, and I'm just sitting there. My husband pulls up, he's parked, and he's running, and I stand up and I go to him and I lose it because now I'm safe, right? Because now my husband's here, and now I can I can relax. Cause now my other half is here. He's going to take care of everything. Even though our friend was there and he was super helpful, it's just different when your spouse shows up, you know? And my husband jokes all the time because he's like, I was expecting like the kids were gonna run up, dad. And he's like, I didn't get that. They were just running like crazy kids. It's fine. It's whatever, but I did. I was like, I ran up. I was excited to see you. At that point, left the church, stayed at my best friend's house, and they were in a teeny tiny 2-bedroom apartment. It was her husband, her son, and she is 8 months pregnant. And now she has 5 additional guests.
But that's what best friends are for.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, that was the day of. Honestly, everything that followed was probably a whole lot harder which is wild, right? When you're facing death, that it ended though. Like everything else that came after was a lot to have to deal with and walk through and handle. I'm sure you've experienced this where people like to say things because their intentions are really good. They're really trying to be helpful, but it's not.
Right. They're trying to glass half full your scenario. You try to give them grace.
Yes, because I think genuinely they were, most of them. I'm sure there were some probably need some help. So most of the time, I think they were trying to make you feel better, right? They're trying to help. I do think sometimes they're just trying to make themselves feel better because they don't know how to deal with your grief.
People are very uncomfortable with other people's grief or other people's feelings. So they try to just make it seem better for themselves a lot of time. And I don't think it's intentionally selfish, but sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what that's like. Sorry doesn't cut it.
Right. Yeah. So the biggest thing we were constantly told were, well, thank God you guys are okay. Thank God none of you were hurt. Thank God it was just stuff. Because at this point, I mean, I guess technically we didn't know the outcome of anything. But Thursday, the fire happened. Friday, we had left because that weekend had planned to go a couple hours south to go to a thing called Apple Hill. It's a huge festival, happens every year, to go stay with one of my sorority sisters. So this had been a plan for a couple months. And they were like, it's still open. So totally get it if you don't come, but it is still open. And at that time, the smoke was horrendous in Chico area. And I'm like, is it smoky there? And they're like, no, not at all. Then we're coming. We
On
are
my
absolutely
way.
coming. So we left for the weekend. And that Saturday, we had a member of our church. Uncle was up doing assessments of the fire stuff because they weren't letting really anyone in. He was contracted by the electrical company to do something. She had texted him saying, hey, will you go by my pastor's house and see if it's there? We're talking to them, and all of a sudden a picture came through, and it was from the streets where our house was, and you can see a down transformer right there, and our house is just completely gone. And you can see our neighbor's house standing.
So that's how you found out your house was gone.
Yeah, because there's fire apps. So we were watching like the fire line, right? And as where we lived and our address went within the fire area and the fire line went beyond our home, we had to wrestle with uncomfortable parts. I want my home to be fine, but also, do I want to be the only home that's fine? I'm not going up there and I'm not going to go live there after this. Even if our house is fine, we're packing up and we're moving. But are we going to be able to sell our house? Because can you sell a house after a fire? Like, I'm like, all these things that you just don't know, you don't think about. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel. I'm super conflicted. I want my house to be fine. But if everyone else has lost their house, like I don't want to be the only one. God, don't let us be the only home. That's fine. So Saturday we get a text with the picture saying house is gone.
Not just your house, everything inside of your house that belongs to your family, pictures, everything.
Yeah, everything. Everything is gone. We had already pretty much assumed our church was gone because those friends that I talked to about that I'd actually given diapers to her kids, not realizing that's who I was giving diapers for, we got a hold of them, and the road our church is on, they had to actually abandon their car, and there's pictures of them running with their dogs in their arms because they were trying to flee. And so it was actually on the same road. And I'm like, there's no way. If they had to literally abandon their car because the fire was coming too fast, our church has to be gone. And sure enough, like, he confirmed that it was gone. Our friend is a Cal Fire, and he had some friends go look for our van, see if it was okay. Saturday, we got a picture of our van with the cats at the driver passenger window. Totally fine. And
I am so glad the cats are okay because I don't know if my listeners would be able to handle dead kittens. I don't think I was going to be.
Dude, I
was,
don't
like,
know
waiting.
if I could have. No, they're fine. Okay. So then our Cal Fire friend is like, hey, when you get back Monday, I'm going to sneak you up the mountain because only firefighters could go up there, first responders, and then they were starting to let animal humane society type people
Rescue people.
And it's also a decently rural town. So you've got a lot of people who had a lot of pets, and no one is allowed to go up. So even if their homes are fine, you've got people with pets. Someone go find my pet. Like, so they had people going up, checking homes. That is important because when my husband got up the mountain with the Cal Fire friend, because he literally had to like shave.
To wear the gear.
Yeah, right. Because they can't have
Right.
facial hair. He kept a mustache and he just put on his friend's stuff. They didn't ask for any of his information. They just took our friend's information and they both went up. So he was able to get pictures of the church, pictures of our house and a couple friends' homes that were standing. And then he got to the van. He's like, no one will question you coming off the mountain. The only question you get on the mountain. So he was going to drive the van home. He gets over there. Apparently, I locked the van and had no idea I did. They broke the passenger window and the cats were no longer in the van, which I'm grateful for because if we hadn't been able to go up there that quickly, right? I am glad that this happened. I'm not mad at anyone. It did kind of suck.
But they were like the only thing you had left and someone took them.
You know,
But
right. So
they're alive.
but
Or we're alive.
they must be alive somewhere.
If
right?
someone broke the window.
So, right. And my worst case was that they just let them out and let them go. But so we got the van back and now we have to find the cats, which at this point, I know they're safe. They've got to be safe. Like there's nothing I can do for them. I don't have a home. I don't have anywhere to put the cats. At this point, if someone came and rescued the cats, then they are being fed, they're being cared for, they're fine. And we'll find them eventually. And if we don't, someone will adopt them. Like that's where I'm at, right? It took us, well, I should say us, I shouldn't. I should say it took my mother-in-law about 2 weeks to find the cats. I don't remember even where she found them. And then she kept them until we were able to get into a place and take them back from her. You know, like you said in the beginning, where 50,000 people are now displaced because the mountain is still closed. We have to deal with insurance. It's things you don't think about. Just because there's a fire, you still have to cancel your internet, in case you're wondering. I need birth certificates. I need social security cards. I need a lot of things. I don't have any. I have a suitcase that has a couple shirts in it and some bottoms, right? Like I have nothing. You have now 50,000 people trying to find somewhere to sleep. By the time we're looking, calling places, we're stopping by apartments, and some are like, we'll put you on the list, 245th on the wait list. And then some are like, sorry, we stopped the wait list at about 150 or 200, or we're no longer taking anybody. People are having to go like 4 or 5 hours away just to find somewhere to stay. You see, there are people who are staying with family. We didn't have anywhere to go. So at one point, we were literally looking at staying in a family's converted garage, and that's where we were going to live. It had a bathroom, so that was cool. We were thinking about how can we put up a partition, like we were just gonna live in this room, all of us, because we didn't really have any other options. And then our other friends were like, hey, we're leaving our apartment complex. They called it caring communities. So they would put on like monthly events, and then they would do every week like a breakfast thing there. And it was a little more involved than that, but that is essentially, you did events for them. They're like, but you get either free or reduced rent. And they're like, maybe you can take our job because it comes with an apartment. So they go to their manager and they're like, hey, what if we did this? And he was like, oh, man, he's like, unfortunately, the position's already been filled. He's like, but tell me more about your friends. And he's like, well, they were on the mountain. They've lost their home. They were pastors, lost their church. And he goes, oh, they were pastors? And he was just like, yeah. And he goes, let me look. And he looks and he goes, yeah, we'll bump the list. They'll get the next available apartment. It should be ready beginning of December. And we're like, wait, what?
Wow.
And he was like, they love Jesus? Yeah. He's like, totally. So who knows how long this wait list was, but totally got pushed to the front.
All because Jesus was your homeboy.
That's right.
Moral of the story, guys.
All these little things of we never once were homeless. We didn't have to keep bouncing like from couch to couch. We didn't have to rent a teeny tiny studio garage, And we got in. The apartment was super tiny. It was more like a little hotel, size-wise, but it had 2 bedrooms, so all the kids were in one. We had our own. I mean, we could have a whole other episode on the aftermath and the grief of all of this, but that is essentially the basic part of surviving a wildfire.
No, I think it's like any traumatic event. I mean, again, I say this all the time. It doesn't have to be cancer to be a difficult thing. And a lot of times it's the aftermath. It's the unknown. It's the having to figure out how to navigate the life after the hard thing, the dark thing. And it
Right.
sounds like though things worked out for y'all in a short period of time, thank God, that doesn't mean that it wasn't a struggle, it wasn't difficult, and that
Oh,
you
yeah.
weren't grieving your entire life before because it changed
Right.
completely.
Absolutely. Something you have to do is get your property cleaned up because everything that burns, all the chemicals, all your products in your house, right, are now in the ground. And so you yourself have to get your property cleaned up.
So you guys are
One of the
responsible for
things,
that as well?
yeah,
What do you have to do for that?
yeah. You have to hire a company that comes out and cleans it because it's toxic. It has to be disposed of properly. So one of the things is a group called I think it's called Samaritans will come and they have volunteers and they'll help you sift through your stuff right before a company that you've hired will come clean it. So it's like there's all these things that you have to do that you just don't think about.
So obviously you guys have, fast forward to now, you're in Texas. Again, you have a beautiful family. Thank God you guys are okay. You never have to diminish what you guys endured. You are such a badass. I don't know if anyone's told you, but just getting to know you more and more, even through doing the podcast, you're just such a force. And I know I've been through my shit, but you've been through your shit and most people have had theirs. But I can't imagine keeping my cool and maintaining the way that you did throughout that entire thing. And I'm just very proud of you. And I'm glad that you're here still and that your family's still here. And you should be very proud of yourself. And I definitely want you on my zombie apocalypse team, for the record. So, what are some things that you learned from this? There's a lot of hardship, but what things that were good that came out of it? Because one I heard you say is the humanity aspect of all these people coming to help. What other things?
Yeah. I think for us, it was just that moment of grief comes in all shapes and sizes. I think even now that's something that's actually, it's hard, but was a good thing is it's hard having a weird style of grief, right? I didn't lose, I didn't lose a loved one. I didn't go through some crazy medical thing. This is kind of an unusual type of grief in terms of losing everything. We lost our home, we lost stuff, we lost our church, but most importantly, we lost our community. All these people, just in Paradise alone, over 13,000 structures burned on fire. And I think the majority of them were homes. And so you have people like my daughter's teacher had to move 4 hours away after the fire. So my daughter just lost her teacher. I have friends that are moving across the country. Everyone in our church, except 2 or 3 families, lost their home and they're scattered. And so I think for us, it built this idea that even though it's just stuff, right, that your community is incredibly important and who you build that community with is important. And that every single person is going to go through hard times. No matter who you are, no matter what you've already gone through, you will experience a hardship. It's just a part of life. But who do you have in your corner? That's you need to think about that. Who is going to catch you in your worst moment? And it was eye-opening, but maybe in a good way for us to see the people who showed up after the fire and also saw the people who did not show up after the fire, which is a hard lesson, but it allowed us to push through. We had really great people behind us.
I actually think that's a very big part of surviving. Not everyone is worth your time and energy. And I just think that it's a filter. You filter out the bullshit. And everything that you go through, there are so many people that are willing to step up, your standards raise. For me in life, I don't make room for the dramatic people, the people that aren't there anymore. And some people are just a season.
I think for me, it's helped me interact with other people who are going through grief, like on a large scale type grief. because I'm someone who very much worries about what I say and will ruminate on what I have said, to the point where I have sometimes been scared to say something, or scared to, like, I'm imposing, or I don't want to interfere, or, well, I don't want to bug them. They're going through something, right? But I still do it. I remind myself, you know what? No, the worst thing was when people were silent. When you didn't hear from someone, that was way worse than when people would say the wrong thing. Like, I would take people trying over silent any day.
Meg, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think, again, trauma is trauma. I cannot believe that you endured all of that. I'm really thankful you were willing to share that, because I think we have a lot of people here in Texas and the Hill Country that have been through devastating flood and loss. And yes, they knew people that have passed and had family members pass, but then there are some people that had all of their homes and everything taken. And I think that there's room for all types of grief. So thank you so much for sharing it. You've been amazing. So let me do my shameless plug now. Check our website out at www.plottwiststillalive.com. You can also email us. If you have a story that you survived something crazy, big or small, we want them all. Whatever you found to be life-changing or your plot twist, I'd love to hear about it. You can email me or slip and slide up into my DMs. We're on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you're following those accounts because I'm pretty fucking funny. If you have not left me a review yet, come on, damn. I need a 5-star. 5-star, make me holla, honey, boo boo. So please leave us a review on whatever platform that you listen on. We now have video. So if you're still on Apple and you haven't seen our beautiful mugs, Meg is looking hella fine today. Her hair's fabulous and I'm always looking good. So make sure you're watching on YouTube or Spotify. And if you want to listen in your car, I guess that's fine for now. But let's end this shit the right way. We're going to do a high five. So you high five the screen. Still alive. And do your evil laugh. Okay, I love it.